How's it going, everybody? My name is Vortex, aka the King Pun, and welcome to the King Pun Kingdom Mega World. This is a project, honestly, I've been meaning to try and figure out a way to do videos for a long time now, and I think I finally know how I'm going to do it. It's going to be a very sort of chilled back, just hanging out and just building stuff, kind of a playthrough, kind of like a let's play as well. In the sense, I'm not going to be doing anything crazy narrative-wise with all this. It's going to have, well, ironically enough, because, you know, story world, but that's fine. It's going to have its story behind it. We'll talk about lore throughout some of these videos as well, but it's mainly going to be just me walking around and just working on stuff and enjoying playing the game and just kind of seeing how this world expands over time. It's kind of going to be a lot of fun. I've already been working on this, as I said in the previous video, for over 1,000 hours at this point, and I find something new to work on in this world every time I log in. I love this world more and more every time I log in. Like look, we have a whole mountain project planned. That's my next sort of big project I'm sort of working on it. I've already started collecting stone. Like, oh my god, it's so much stone. I have like currently 18 shulker boxes. I don't think this is even going to be enough. Oh guys, this is what happens when you start doing mega builds. Honestly, the resource collection is just mental. It's mental, chat. I'm gonna have to get used to not calling you guys that. I'm so used to streaming, I just called you chat, you know, like an idiot. That's fine. But yeah, we're sort of just gonna work around the world today and see what projects actually need working on, whilst I sort of explain a little bit of I guess sort of our main projects. I finally got the villager zombification station up as well. I built this lovely little copper railway as well, which leads directly into the trading hall, which means that I can actually start finally filling out all the villagers in there. It's going to make my life so much easier in terms of gathering tools to go actual get materials. Like, I needed some of the enchants for so long. I kept putting it off. I don't know why I kept putting it off. Oh well. But either way, yeah, down here is literally where I persuade the villagers, we'll say, to give me some cheaper trades. Yeah, literally, villager breeder comes down. They get caught in a minecart, gets brought across. Minecart comes down through, lands in front of the zombie. You press this button, and the villager will come right in if he doesn't already. He will then persuade them to give me cheaper trades as I bring them back to humanity, because they will then come around here, sit in here. I'll then give them the correct trade that they need, lock it in, and send them off. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. I should probably also explain a little bit about what this project is. Like I say, this is one of my main projects. This is the city of Oakswind, which is my capital city in this world. There's going to be a bunch of other towns, villages, and stuff like that throughout the world, but this is our main, this is our home. This is the main city. This is probably only about a third of the size it's actually going to be. Eventually it's going to like go all the way around the mountain and stuff like that, but for the minute, this is sort of what we're working with. I actually recently finished like a lovely little street down here, but this is like say where my castle is going to be as well. But yeah, I love building a like close-knit streets. I just love being able to walk through places after I've built stuff, and it just feel very put together, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does or not, probably not. But actually, I just remembered there's a bunch of shulker boxes here. I was looking for shulker boxes because one of the projects I may end up having to do is, obviously, I've collected a bunch of stone to start off with. I also need a lot of grass. I need a lot of grass because it's going to be terraforming that's going to need to be done that actually sort of merges that mountain in with the rest of the biome. It's sort of going to like slope up. We will work on that soon, TM. Soon, TM. If I fly up into this fog this way, we have our gold farm, which is also our XP farm, so you'll probably catch me here a fair bunch whenever I need to repair my stuff. That almost was very dangerous. That would have probably killed me. But yeah, all you do is you literally stand here. I'm pretty sure this is a design of, I think it's Ilmango. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry if it is. I will have to check in post, but that's fine. But yeah, literally, I would shoot a bow at these guys, and these guys literally just walk in, and then they just become my AFK XP farm. I'm pretty sure at one point I got up to like level 400 or something, and then I just used a bunch of the levels. That's fine. Yeah, is a very, very useful farm to have around, I must admit. I went a little bit ham with the project. This is called Project Elder City. The essentials of what it is that it is a giant custom-made end island which has essentially been flooded. Actually, believe it or not, this was somewhat inspired by Phil's Atlantis, believe it or not. But this is the Elder King, or at least what's left of him. This is his skeletal remains. He was once an ancient protector over the realms, and when he knew his time was coming to an end, in fear of what the Wither King might do if he ever came back to power, he essentially used the last of his energy, the last of his magic, which is going to be made in a heart in his ribcage eventually. Basically, he merged himself with the End Island and flooded it to protect it from the Wither King, so he could never get his hands on it. This whole project is basically going to be, each of these different arms are going to have like bigger like end islands on, which are going to have custom end city built on it. There's going to be like bridges between with smaller like floating islands, as you can see over here. And there's going to be airships around. There's going to be big crystal spikes and stuff like that. It's basically just a massive custom end city is the essentials of what this project is. But honestly, I love it here. We are using the Better End mod, by the way. Like I say, this is a modded sort of playthrough. Well, Vanilla Plus modded is the best way I can put it. We've got a couple of mods, but it's nothing groundbreaking, really. It's sort of a few, like, cookery and farming mods. The biggest mod we've probably got in the world at the moment is literally Better End. That's probably the biggest game-changing mod we have in here. All the rest are sort of just for a bit of fun, really, and a bit of decoration. But yeah, I love this project. I cannot tell you how long it took me to figure out this guy's skull. It took me so long, and it's still not finished. I need to build his horns. I really need to build his horns. But despite all that, the real reason why I decided to come to the end is, I'm not gonna lie, I'm low on shulker boxes. I kind of need more shulker boxes, so we're kind of just gonna go for a bit of an exploration mission. Okay. Right, we are on the search for end cities. Wish me luck. Whoever's betting on my downfall, I give up. You win. Jesus. Okay, cool. We got more than we came for. Now we can finally go home. I've said it before. Better End is honestly so pretty to fly through. There's so many new biomes and stuff. I just wish base game had some of this stuff in. That is one update. If I could ask for an update, an end update is probably the biggest one I'd ask for. That is actually a very good question, though. Let me know down below in the comments. If you guys could pick any update to add to Minecraft, what would you pick? I'm interested to know what you guys think down below. But yeah, we're just gonna like start making shulker boxes already. It just takes a little bit of time. It's the only issue with shulker boxes. I mean, I get why they don't stack, because otherwise that would make storage way too OP. It's the same reason why they wouldn't have shulker boxes to be stored inside of shulker boxes. Because realistically, it would just be a horrible idea. I've been needing to actually do an end run for a while, so I'm glad I actually got round to finally ticking that off the to-do list. But yeah, in all fairness, there we go. This is literally 38 extra shulker boxes I can now use to continue my projects, which is going to make my life infinitely easier. Now that I actually have a place to store it all, I can take some of these and actually start gathering some of the resources now. Hey guys, post-text here. I'm going to be using this as a chance to actually talk to you guys whenever it comes to actually doing any sort of speed builds, because I think that having something to actually just fill the gap between this, because otherwise it's just a whole bunch of silence, and I don't feel like it's very good content. But I've built a lot of terraforming in the past, but you know, mountains are one of those things that always just look so impressive when they actually finally come together. But the only issue is they take so many resources. So things like this sort of speed build is probably going to be very necessary going forward with most of my big projects. Because at the end of the day, me collecting the resources is still part of the content, you know? It's sort of like one of those things that I can just sort of zone out and sort of just focus on stuff. So I like things like this because it'll actually give me a chance to talk about maybe what's going on at the moment, maybe what I have plans coming up, or just anything useful, really. It doesn't particularly matter what. Maybe I could also eventually do, for example, like a question of the day or something. Speaking of which, our first question of the day comes in from a good friend of mine, WADEBOX. Make sure you go check him out in the description below if you haven't already. He asked, what made you want to start a MegaWorld over other MC projects? Honestly, that's a very good question. To be fair, I think the reason behind it is mainly because I realized that with me joining all these different servers and making all these different other projects, is that at the end of the day, they only last for a certain amount of time. Whereas with this MegaWorld, it can go on for as long as I want it to, and I have complete creative freedom over it. And I think genuinely that creative freedom is what allows me to be able to express myself more, because I feel like that almost to a certain degree that with some of these stories, a part of me is in these stories. And I think that is something that's really special, and I genuinely don't know if I've seen it anywhere else. So that's like one of my biggest reasons as to why I made the MegaWorld. But another reason was just because I genuinely wanted to find a way that I could tell stories. Like, I'm a very creative person, and I love making things, especially like cinematic based things. So in the future you may end up getting some cinematics from this world, but it's again dependent on which way it goes. But this world gives me that freedom to create these stories, to shape the world as I see fit. And like I say, it gives me so much more creativeness because I don't necessarily have to worry about necessarily keeping to anybody else's rules or making sure that a build's in a certain style. It can be whatever I want it to be. But that's basically my reasoning behind it all. Thank you very much for sending in the question. Please let me know down below in the comments if you guys have any questions you want me to answer on one of these videos. I very much appreciate it. And whilst you're down there, don't forget to hit that like, comment and subscribe button. I really appreciate it, guys, and it helps me out endlessly. I genuinely think this world could go somewhere big, and I just want to be able to take it to that place. So you guys supporting me means the world to me. Thank you so much for your support with all of this. And after all that, finally I have all 12 shelter boxes full of grass or dirt. That should definitely help me out in getting me a start on this mountain. Thank God. That took me way longer than I expected it to. Oh, hi friends. You guys just stay over there, okay? I mean no harm. You know, despite the landscape I've kind of ravaged here, but you can forgive me for that, right? Yeah, of course you can. Right, let's get home. Also, can't forget to repair all of our tools, especially after that. We went through almost like 4 shovels. That's impressive. But it's a good thing we have this XP farm. And finally, we're back home. We've got the resources we need to at least make a start on this, and well, it's certainly going to be a mountain of a project to work on. So let's not waste any time. Let's start cracking on. And with that, after a little while, that is the first part of the mountain made. I'm actually pretty happy with how this has turned out. I haven't terraformed in a while. I haven't done the texturing yet. I will get towards that in a minute. But in all fairness, I'm very pleased with how this has turned out, considering the last time I terraformed was whatever this is behind. I definitely think I've improved since then, so seeing it finally come together once we start adding some custom trees, add the pathway that will go up the mountain, add the hole in the mountain so you can walk through to the other village as well. It's going to look great when it's done. But that is not all that I'm going to be building in today's episode. I want to come over to the front of where the castle is going to be, and this entire area down here, by the time of you guys watching this, it should be the start of December. I want to turn this area here into a city square that has a big Christmas tree in the middle that we can take down or decorate and undecorate at any point. So I'm going to go and grab the resources for that, and I'll be back with you in just a second where you can get started on this city center and the lovely Christmas tree. But first, if we're going to be building something a bit more Christmassy, then I think it's better that I get changed before I start working. Ah, there we go. That feels better. Way more appropriate for this time of year. Right, let's get back to work. So I started off this project by outlining with some stone bricks where I wanted the actual city centre to go. I then decided to start adding in some cobbled deep slate flooring around the area as well. Honestly, I haven't built a proper city centre in a long time, so I'm kind of experimenting a little bit here. I also decided later on to use some bricks, because for some reason that was one idea that I had just set in my mind, was I wanted to use bricks somewhere. And in all fairness, when it actually got to that point, I actually really enjoyed how it looked. And I honestly, it took me a lot longer and a lot more cobble deep slate than I actually thought it would to fill out the floor. But eventually I did get it filled in. I then started to move around the square, adding in some brick and granite planters with some andesite slabs on the top of them. I also decided to make the sort of like fountain slash, I guess, tree stand in the middle made out of brick and granite as well. I also then after that decided to actually fill in the floor with a mix of different types of corals and gravel to try and make sort of like a grey, stony, like gritty looking floor. I also decided to raise the circle around the fountain up about a half slab. It doesn't particularly serve a purpose, but it just adds a little bit more detail as we're going along here. I actually decided to outline that inner circle with granite and brick slabs, as I did with sort of the other areas as well, just to sort of make it fit the theme. And honestly, I could not decide what shape or size I wanted that plant along the seafront to be. I really just could not decide what I wanted. But in the end, I thought a thinner one would be better because I could have added a couple of trees on it and added just some bushes along the foot of it. I then decided to start adding some texturing to the walls around the foundation. So I started to mix in a bunch of cobblestone and andesite into the walls, just a bit more of a subtle sort of texture, but it's enough to actually make a difference, to make it stand out a little bit as well. Once that was done, we had a bunch of areas where there wasn't really a lot going on, so what I decided to actually do was to start putting in the outlines for some houses and stuff to actually sort of like, I guess, encase the city centre, to make it feel a bit more busy and actually just make it feel a bit more alive in general. These buildings will probably be built at a later date, maybe even in a separate video of their own, who knows, we'll see how it goes. I then started to add some areas where I could put in some street lights, as well as then getting ready to actually build the main Christmas tree to actually bring this whole build together. Now we begin the fun part. I decided to put up, I think it was about 28 blocks with some spruce logs to create the main trunk of the tree. I then decided to use some dark oak fences to actually add the downward sort of branches. I tried to angle them somewhat downwards to sort of make it an almost realistic sort of tree, because I've noticed that spruce trees do sort of have that sort of like, say, triangular sort of look, so you would have them aiming down a little bit. I gradually made these branches smaller and smaller as you went further up the tree. I was then able to start adding the leaves to the tree. I tried to sort of do it almost very sparingly while still trying to keep some sort of a shape to the tree. I had to go in a bunch of different areas that I'd already built and sort of add a few more leaves just to make it sort of a bit better of a shape, because it kept looking too jagged, I guess is the best way I could put it. But it ended up looking not too bad in the end. I then used my obviously so enormous brain to remind myself that I actually had added a data pack to the world, which allowed me to use different looking player heads. So I actually remembered I had some that I'm pretty sure were amethyst, diamond blocks, gold blocks and emerald blocks, and I decided to use them as, I guess, like baubles around the tree before coming in with some different coloured frog lights afterwards to actually put the lights on the tree. After we decorated the rest of the tree, I then decided to add a lovely glowstone star on the very top of it. And with that, a little bit more detailing later, and this city square is pretty much done. I also decided to build this lovely little, sort of like, I guess, stall here. I don't quite know what it's going to sell yet. Probably drinks or something, but I'll figure that out later. But I am super happy with how this tree turned out. I really, really am. But with that all being said, that is all the time I have for today's episode. So if you did like it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought of it down below. And let me know what you want to see me build next. But with all that being said, make sure you keep your chins up, don't let the crown fall, and I will see all of you loyal subjects in the next one. Take care.